Spoiler warning. Now, was that time skip really necessary? Really, AMC? Really? You know, for a split second, I thought it was like a minor flashback when you saw Travis running or jogging through the streets. I thought that was gonna be a flashback to, I guess, how life was before the apocalypse started. Started to come to the surface, and you know how The Walking Dead does that from time to time, where they'll throw in a flashback and then you don't realize it's a flashback until like maybe a minute or two later. Well, that's what I thought they were doing. Apparently not. It's time skipping forward into the future, like 9 days later, since the events of the. And people complain about the pilot episode, not anything happening. Well, I would have a bigger issue with this one, because for one, let's put this episode against the pilot. The pilot had walkers. May not have been a lot of walkers, but they had walkers nonetheless. This episode has no walkers at all. None. Like, literally no walkers are in this episode. So this episode should be called Fear the Living, or Fear Not the Walking Dead, or Fear the Living, or one of the two. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the survivors or the characters of the show to be safe. I want them to go to safety. But it takes you away, a little, like, mostly away from the fact that this world is falling apart. I mean, the dead is still a big threat out there, and it's getting worse before it gets better. So this episode kind of takes you away from that, and I guess it makes you focus more on the fact that the living, the living is also so a threat as well, with with the army, with the military acting all suspicious or whatever, or those people in with their CDC outfits on or whatever. Well, not CDC outfits, but you know what I'm talking about, where they put on the mask over them to prevent themselves from potentially getting exposed to the virus. Yeah, and remember that the opening scene to The Walking Dead season 1 finale? I think that's gonna play a bigger part in this show. Where they waltz into the hospital and they shot down all those doctors and all the living people who who weren't bit or anything. They just shot them down like they were nothing and shot their heads to keep them from turning. And yeah, I think those individuals are going to play a bigger part in this show. And that's one of the more interesting parts about this episode, as kind of dull and filler as it was. And another cool thing that I enjoyed in this episode is when Madison sits down with Daniel and he pretty much tells her about a horrible experience in his, that he had when he was a kid, and that right there was the beginning of his evolution, of him evolving into a world like this, like the zombie apocalypse. That basically explains why he's not afraid to shoot down somebody, let alone if it's a walker or if it's a living threat. I mean, he'll get it done. And that kind of seeing that kind of shit that he saw will fuck with your head. That can fuck with your head and can turn you into something dark, and that's what it did to him. And if they don't get if the group doesn't get their shit together, they're definitely gonna need him. They're gonna need him by their side 24/7. I mean, like, all he is dead weight for them. I mean, like, seriously. And he's not even the lead character, but if they don't learn how to survive in this world, they're gonna be dead weight for this guy. And what I really don't get is why nobody's watching Nick. I mean, Madison, sort of went off on Travis about that. Like, well, Liza's not, is off, doing whatever and, helping other people, and then you're playing, the I guess the beacon of hope for the people, or whatever, and then I mean, like you don't have that anything better to do, Madison. I mean, why don't you keep an eye on him? I'm not saying you can do it 24/7, but you can do that. Like if no one else is able to do it, you should be doing that. You should be looking out for him. I mean, that's your kid. I mean, like, you're his mom. I mean, like, that should be your natural habit to want to be there to make sure he doesn't fuck himself up even further with, with his addictions. Just saying. You can't expect other people to do it for you. So Chris, like, quite a bit in this episode, he's been looking, like, miles away from where they're set up at, and he keeps seeing the light at a window. Someone keeps waving, I guess, a piece of mirror or whatever, waving the light into the sunlight, and then he sees it, and then he tries to show Travis and Madison. They're like, and then they're like, oh, it's nothing, it's your imagination. And Madison's starting to believe it too, like, okay, then there's really something going on there. So she sneaks out, she sneaks out of the camp to see what's going on, and then that's when she sees that someone gunned down, I guess, I think they gunned down a walker, or were they all living beings? Yeah, they were all gunned down like, like they were walkers. And you see the people who did it walking through there, like I guess the army, people, and waltzing through there looking for any other people that, to shoot down and shit. I mean, it's fucking crazy. Oh man. And then later on in the episode, Travis finally sees that, Chris was not crazy. And when he sees the light flickering and it's nighttime, he also hears gunshots. And that's fucking horrifying. Like, damn. And before that, they take the military takes Daniel's wife away. Well, I get it. I mean, she needs it. I mean, she needs treatment badly. And they take Nick away as well. And I guess with him, with his withdrawals and acting weird, I guess they're panicking, like, well, was he bit? Is the virus taking over some other way, or what's going on here? Or they or do they know about his addiction and he's having withdrawals and they want to help him with that? It could be one or the other. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they wanted Nick. I guess we'll find out in the next week's episode. But other than that, there's way too much downtime in this episode. Not to mention, Walker free. I'm not saying, I mean, like, if I was in that situation, I would definitely want to be in their shoes, Walker free. But still, it's called Fear the Walking Dead. Come on. It's based off The Walking Dead. You gotta see at least one or two walkers here and there. I'm not saying it have to be in the entire episode, but let's see at least one or two in, like, maybe at least 2 scenes or something. I did think it was funny how when Madison confronted Nick and he's like, okay, what are you gonna say or whatever, and then she starts hitting him like, you got no idea, you don't know, you just don't know. Kept knocking him on his ass and hitting him. I'm like, what? I mean, maybe it's because of his addiction. She knows that he's, stealing drugs from or stealing, drugs from the military. When they're keeping it secretly stashed away, and he's, whenever he can get his hands on it, he grabs it and then he, helps the withdrawals or whatever. I guess maybe that's why she's pissed off with him. I mean, it's gotta be. And Alicia's doing a little monologue to someone named Patrick. Is she referring to her boyfriend? I could have sworn his name was Matt. Or maybe they called it Pat for short. I mean, like, who the fuck is Patrick? I mean, I thought her boyfriend was named Matt. I mean, it sounded like she was writing that note to her boyfriend. And she's fucking crazy, stabbing little holes around her, the writing, the marker writing that her boyfriend wrote around there. He wrote like a rose or whatever he drew a rose on her arm or whatever, and she's stabbing holes around that drawing or whatever. I'm like, okay, shit. But overall, I'll give this episode a 6 from 1 to 10. Yeah, way too much downtime. And yeah, and there's something really fishy going on with the military, and maybe all of them are following orders. I don't know if there's a main guy, within that group that's I don't think we've seen that person, whether if it's him or her or whatever, or people. I mean, it's something's really off about the military in this episode, and I hope we find some answers in these last 2 episodes. Man, 2 episodes left, and then the main show comes on the next week. I'm trying to think if I missed anything here before I sign out. If there's anything that I didn't point out in this episode, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. And if you liked my review, share the video, thumb up the video, subscribe to my channel for more awesome videos to come. And until next time, Nerdy Boysian is signing out. Peace out. Stay safe.